Imagine the year is 1922. You are standing in a meeting room in Berlin. Outside the window, the city looks calm and ordinary. Trams move through the streets. Shops open every morning. Workers collect their wages. Newspapers talk about recovery after the war. To the average citizen, life appears to be slowly returning to normal. But inside that room, one man is behaving very differently. His name is Hugo Stinnes. While most businesses are being cautious with money, Stinnes is doing the opposite. He is borrowing enormous amounts of German currency and spending it as fast as possible. Factories, mines, shipping companies, steel plants, forests, newspapers, almost anything that produces real goods. To the public, it looks insane. Journalists begin criticizing him. Some say he is reckless, others say he is greedy. A few believe he is heading toward bankruptcy, but what most people don't realize is that Stinnes understands something about the future of money that they do not. Within a short period of time, the German currency begins to collapse. What started as inflation soon turns into full hyperinflation. Prices begin rising at unbelievable speed. Something that cost hundreds of marks suddenly costs millions, then billions, and eventually even more. Families who spent decades saving money discover their savings can no longer buy basic food. Salaries become worthless within days. Retirement funds disappear. Entire bank accounts lose their value. In a matter of months, a large part of the middle class in Germany is financially destroyed. But Stinnes is not ruined, because the money he borrowed has now become worthless. His debts can be repaid with currency that no longer has real value. Yet the things he purchased, factories, land, and industries, are still real. They continue producing goods and generating income. When the crisis finally settles, Stinnes ends up controlling a huge industrial empire. This story is not simply about one businessman making a clever move. It reveals a pattern that has appeared many times throughout history. Before major economic disruptions, wealth often begins to move quietly from one type of asset into another. Most people think money itself is wealth, but there is an important difference. Money is simply a tool used to measure value. Real wealth is the thing that actually has usefulness in the real world. Things like land, energy, food production, or infrastructure. When financial systems are stable, this distinction doesn't matter very much. Currency holds value, and promises made by governments and banks are generally honored. But when systems begin to weaken, people who closely watch economic signals start adjusting their behavior. Historically, one of the first assets wealthy individuals move toward is productive land. Farmland has a unique characteristic. It produces something essential. No matter what happens to financial markets, people still need food. Because of that, farmland often retains value even when currencies lose purchasing power. Another asset that repeatedly appears during uncertain periods is gold. Gold has been used as a store of value for thousands of years. Unlike paper currency, it cannot be created by a central bank or printed in unlimited amounts. Throughout history, when confidence in financial systems decreases, interest in gold tends to increase. Another surprising category is high-value portable goods such as rare art. At the highest levels of collecting, famous paintings and sculptures can function almost like physical wealth storage. They can be transported across borders and stored privately without relying on a banking system. Wealthy individuals have used this strategy for generations when political or economic uncertainty increases. There is also another strategy that is less visible but very common among people with large fortunes. They diversify across countries. Instead of keeping all of their wealth within one national financial system, they spread assets across multiple jurisdictions, different currencies, different banks, and sometimes different legal structures. This approach reduces the risk of being trapped if one country introduces financial restrictions or experiences severe currency instability. In modern times, another major area attracting investment is infrastructure. Things like energy networks, transportation systems, data centers, and water systems. These are services society relies on every day. Because of that, they tend to continue generating income regardless of market cycles. If we step back and look at history carefully, we can see the same general movement repeating again and again during periods of financial stress. Wealth gradually shifts away from purely financial claims and toward assets connected to real-world production and essential services. This pattern does not require secret meetings or coordinated plans. It often happens naturally because people with access to more financial information pay close attention to long-term economic trends. They study government debt levels, monetary policies, and demographic pressures. When they begin to believe that financial conditions are becoming unstable, they slowly reposition their assets. The important point is not predicting an exact crisis. History shows that financial systems can continue functioning much longer than people expect. Major changes sometimes take decades to fully unfold, but understanding historical patterns can help people think more critically about how economic systems operate. Because every time a financial crisis occurs, people later ask the same question. Why did no one see it coming? The truth is that some people did notice the warning signs. They simply prepared quietly instead of announcing it publicly. And when the system finally changed, those preparations made a very large difference.